20 seconds, a little bit longer than 20 seconds, because I got to get to the rest of them. Let me hear your 20-second pitch on why kids need to be proud to be in this city.
Well, Charles, I would tell them to look back and to look forward. I would tell them that, to look back into Baltimore's rich history, see all the great men and women who have come up out of Baltimore, learned and been able to give back to not just Baltimore, but to our nation. And then I would tell them to look forward, that even though the adults in the past have not invested in themselves and in the city in the ways that they should have, that they are about to have a mayor who's going to prioritize them, put them first, and put their
Okay, I got to cut you off too. Let me hear your 20-second pitch, Senator Pugh.
Well, first of all, I say it's not where you come from, it's where you're going. In spite of the shortcomings of our city, in spite of the leadership that fails to focus on our young people and invest in our children, that the next mayor will. That we will prioritize our children, that we will put them first, and that they are our future, but they're also our here and now. So investing in young people is the direction that this city is going in. And I'd say to the parents as well, trust me with your children, because I will build a better city for them, I will build better schools, and this can be a great city when I become the next mayor.
You're the closest one that came to 20 seconds. Mr. Landers, let me hear what you got for 20 seconds for Sally and Johnny, why they should be proud to be in this city.
First off, I would say to them that we need to work together so we can both be proud. They need to hold elected officials accountable for investing in schools and in neighborhoods and clearing those vacant properties and eliminating the blight from their neighborhoods. We have to show that we care about the neighborhoods if we expect the children to care about the neighborhood. And that's what's missing here. I mean, I don't believe we've demonstrated that we care enough, so as a consequence, they don't care. We need to partner together. And I would tell them to look to the next mayor and hold the next mayor accountable for investing back in the neighborhoods and making the communities safer.
Thank you very much. Mr. Conaway, 20 seconds, what?
Of course.
What are you going to tell Sally and Johnny?
Yeah, I would tell Sally and Johnny, of course, you feel badly about what you passed going to school. But I also would say to African-American children who see more of this than other children, that they need to look at the diversity in City Hall and see how they feel about that. How many people they see in high positions at City Hall that look like them. That's one of the things that they ought to be looking at, because that's terrible. And then when you somebody said something about you have to go to the state to get something done, well, we have three people here that are attached to the governor of this state. We have Mr. Rowley, Ms. Pugh, and the current mayor.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This next question asks you to look into kind of your crystal ball, if you will. One of the school board members who is term limited will need to be replaced. This individual is from the Baltimore business community. Without going into exactly who you would select, give me some criteria you would use to make this selection. Mr. Landers, let's start with you. You got to pick somebody to be on this school board. What kind of criteria are you going to use?
My criteria would be a person who cares deeply about the city school system and about children. That is the basic criteria. I don't want somebody who's looking for a political platform or to mount a campaign to run for Senate or any other office. I want somebody who cares first and foremost about the children. That would be my primary criteria. The other thing that I would look for is somebody who's already demonstrated that concern by being involved at the local level, at the policy level, by participating in advocacy groups around the city and around the state. So those would be the major criteria that I would use.
Mr. Rowley, this person has a business background. You're going to pick a business person, or are you going to pick somebody else?
In terms of the overall criteria, for me, I'm looking for individuals who have a love and passion for children, people who understand the workforce that these children are going to have to go into, people who understand as part of your school board, so that they are pushing an agenda that helps kids prepare for the future workforce. I think it is crucial that we have diversity, though, on that school board. Diversity not just in terms of racial diversity, but diversity of ideas and focus, so that the kids are getting a full spectrum of support from the citizens.
Madam Mayor, you got to make this selection. Think about it. Who do you want to get on this board that's not there now that you think this board really needs?
I'm hoping to get a business leader, someone that brings with them the credibility and certainly the business acumen that will help our school system move forward. I need to know that I have a partner. We work very hard to protect funding for schools. While our city has struggled with the budget, I made sure that we maintained our funding for public education and that we made sure that we had opportunities for young people to work during the summer. This is a passion. This is a priority for me, and I need to know that I have a partner in the school board. I need to know that the $385 million that we spend on services and programs for youth, they're interested in leveraging those resources to get the most for our kids. I'm looking for a partner with the skills, the passion, and a clear understanding of what it takes to move the city forward.
Mr. Conaway, how do you select this person to go on this school board? What are you looking for when you're looking for somebody to get on this school board?
I'm looking for someone that wants to run for the office I'm for in the elected school board. Someone that we can scrutinize and the rest of the citizens can scrutinize and see who the best person is for the job. I'm sick and tired of the school board in the way that it is now. I also think that the CEO should be selected by the mayor of Baltimore City instead of jointly with the governor of the state. It's going downhill all the time. It's going downhill, and we need to uplift it. Bring some people in that's answerable to the community, and they should be voted in.
Senator Pugh, you got to make a selection here. What kind of person are you looking for? What is that criteria that's needed on this board that's not there right now?
If there's not a business person on the school board, I'd want a business person on the school board, because you're talking about building new schools, you're talking about the finances of the school system, but I also want someone who's passionate about young people. I want someone who's an advocate for children. And so I would want to make sure that all of those acumens are in place for the next person that I would select. Again, it has to be about the investment in our young people. And you have to have all types of people on the school board. But more importantly, someone who cares about our children, cares about the future, recognizes that we need new school buildings built in Baltimore, and that they have that kind of acumen, because you're going to have to develop partnerships with the business and philanthropic community to help build new schools in this city.
Ladies and gentlemen, my time is up. Let me turn it back to our moderator, Jeff Salkin.
Charles, thanks very much. Let me remind our viewers that you are watching a live mayoral forum television. We're going to continue by turning our focus to crime. And for that discussion, here's Jennifer Gilbert.
Thank you, Jeff. Mayor Rawlings-Blake, the police department has been rocked recently by scandals involving violent confrontations with civilians and a fellow officer, a towing kickback scandal, a police officer accused of dealing drugs, the head of internal affairs transferred. Who's policing the police? And why should the community put their trust in the police department that seems to have problems policing itself?
Well, I think it's the way you're characterizing it. We're policing the police. Just about everything that you mentioned, we took to investigators, because I insist that every single person that takes home a city paycheck with taxpayers' dollar in it deserves it, earns it, and needs to operate with the utmost integrity. I am determined to bring ethics and truth and honor back to city government. That's why the first bill I signed as mayor was the last bill I introduced, which is sweeping ethics reform. It is very important to me. I will root it out, and while you would like to characterize it as who's policing the police, I'm telling you I'm policing the police, I'm policing the transportation department, I'm policing DPW, I'm policing people in my office. I will make sure that if you are taking home a city paycheck, it is a privilege and you will earn it.
Do you still have confidence in Commissioner Bielfeld?
I have confidence that he was willing and able to root out problems in his own agency, not willing to turn a blind eye for fear that he would be seen as a poor manager. I am rooting out problems agency by agency, person by person, and I will not stop until I have the confidence, and I can give that confidence to the public, that every single person that is taking home a city paycheck earns it and deserves it and is working with integrity.
Do you intend to keep Commissioner Bielfeld in his position?
I am pleased with our strategy. It is working. We need to do more, and I have confidence that continuing to work hard, particularly when it comes to fighting for tougher gun laws, we will continue to see progress in making Baltimore a safer city.
Senator Pugh, the incidents and situations that I just mentioned have also taken a toll within the police department itself. What would you do to restore morale in the Baltimore City Police Department?
First of all, I think we have to overhaul the entire police department. We have too many police officers who are on desk duty that should be on the streets of our city. This mayor talks about hiring additional police. We need to fill the positions that we already have. It's not about additional police in our police department. We are the second highest policing city in the nation. And so we need to reprioritize our police department, overhaul it. And the best crime reduction strategy is a crime prevention strategy. That's focusing in on the young people and investing in them. But you know, my police plan has 7 different areas. It talks about how we invest in our neighborhoods, light up our neighborhoods, all of these things. 47,000 boarded houses create crime in our neighborhoods, and we've not had a focus on that. But you know, I look at the police department because I sat down and developed my crime prevention strategy with many of the police officers. You know, we have to develop respect for the police, but the police also have to develop respect for the community. And so I'm working with every different district in the city. In Southeast Baltimore, they're talking about citizens on patrol without borders because they want to help other neighborhoods understand what they can do to help reduce crime in their communities. And in Northeast Baltimore, they're talking about making police more responsive to the community and to help the community understand their role in terms of how we solve the crime problems in our city. So overhauling the police department, having an inspector general specifically for the police department so that somebody is policing the police.
We know that violent crime is down its lowest level since the late 80s, but Baltimore still remains one of the 10 most violent cities in America. Mr. Rowley, you've called attention to what happened on the 4th of July at the Inner Harbor with an out-of-town tourist that was stabbed to death and a young child that was struck by a stray bullet. There were some 600 police officers saturating the Inner Harbor that night, and a state trooper about 20 feet away from where that child was shot. What more could have been done to prevent that from happening, and what does it say about the ability of law enforcement to prevent violent crime?
Well, I have 3 children, and I don't think in terms of prevention with them, Jennifer. I think in terms of opportunity. We can have 1 million police officers, and more police officers do not change the climate of our city. What changes the climate of our city is having a mayor who has their priorities straight, that creates opportunities for its citizens, that looks to create jobs, invest in rec centers, invest in our schools. If you do more to invest in the people within the city of Baltimore, you do more to reduce crime in our city. We've had 139 murders. We've had about twice as many shootings as we've had murders in our city. People do not feel safer. And they don't feel safe because we're not doing the things that are necessary to show them that we are investing in them. When you do those things, crime goes down. We've seen that in other cities. It can happen here if you have a mayor who knows how to do it. And that's why my crime plan looks at not just going after the most violent offenders and prosecuting crime in a much stronger way, but it also looks at how we can prevent criminals from being produced. It's not the vacant buildings that are committing crimes. It's the individuals that are committing crimes. And those individuals need to have options. They need to have options beyond what's being provided right now.
Mr. Landers, more police officers, is that the answer?
More police officers are not the answer. We need a holistic approach to dealing with crime in the city. We have in the current budget hiring 300 additional police. At the same time, we're closing rec centers. We're setting up an impossible situation for police officers to keep neighborhoods safe and to keep citizens safe. We need to have a partnership with the police department. We also have a situation where our police officers feel demoralized and alienated. We're cutting benefits to the police officers. At the same time, we expect them to take on a greater role in terms of policing neighborhoods. One of the big things we have to do is we have to restore trust between the citizens and the police department, and that has not been done. The police have to be in partnership with the neighborhood. The neighborhood has to begin to look out for itself and trust that when they call a police officer, they're going to have somebody respond to their door who cares about them and we'll solve the problem. That hasn't happened here. You know, we are working against ourselves when we're closing recreation centers and looking to just hire more police. We need to have a holistic approach that cuts across the board. Improving the performance of schools will have a tremendous impact on crime. The last point I want to make is we have not dealt with the drug problem in this city. It's easier to go buy buprenorphine and methadone illegally on the street than it is to get into a treatment program. Until we deal with that issue, we're just going to be fueling the crime problem.
I want to come back to that in a minute, but in the meantime, Mr. Conaway, do you think the city of Baltimore needs more police officers? Oh,
absolutely not. One of the biggest problems we have here is people don't have jobs. When people don't have jobs, they commit crimes. They hang out on street corners, they talk to